Welcome to Vancouver Carpenter. Today we have Ryan from
The Funny Carpenter.
Yeah, he's launching a new channel here. And he contacted me about this patch that he needs done because you do like carpentry stuff, not a carpenter who does all drywall.
I'm not necessarily into the drywall. So what we got here today is I cut this section open to repair a heat duct that wasn't attached. And I've done a bit of a handyman special repair on here. I've caulked this little seam all together. I've taken some little spackle and tried to make it look all right. But as you can see, it's terrible.
It's still here, yeah. But the funny thing is, even though it was caulked, it's actually not cracking anywhere. So I don't know if we need to actually go ahead and tape it or do anything. Like, I push on it and it's pretty solid. I might put some tape on just for insurance, but for the most part, yeah, I think we could just coat this. But the purpose of the video, which is maybe what I put in the thumbnail, is actually how to get rid of this texture. So this is a light orange peel texture, and we might try a number of ways. So normally what people would do is they would wet it down and scrape it, but this is unpainted light orange peel texture. So the first thing I'm actually going to try and do is just sand down the surface, because if we can just sand this, then we've got about a third of the work. Because normally what somebody would do is they would wet it, scrape it, skim it, sand it, which seems insane to me when you can just start with sanding. So let's try that. Okay, the first thing that we're gonna do is start sanding with this hide sander that I may or may not have mentioned in some videos. It's a pretty good sander for this purpose. It's not really gonna leave any scratches, and it's gonna burn this down nice and fast. You can even see in this spot over here that I test sanded before we started filming. The other thing we're gonna do is I think I'm gonna get Ryan set up with my vacuum sander. I've made a video about this one ages ago, but this is just like a Richard, and I'm sure Hyde has the same brand, because Richard and Hyde are just, Richard is the Canadian one, Hyde is the American one. They're the same company though. So we've got this cheap vacuum sander. We'll get Ryan set up on that. I'll be sanding. Anyways, time to get to it and see how this looks and see if it's going to be acceptable for paint. Quick disclaimer, if your home is older than 1990, you should absolutely get it checked for asbestos. Don't just go sanding any old drywall mud or texture off and think that you're going to be all right. Found a screw pop. You know, you can use these knives to remove stuff when you don't have your screwdriver handy. I often use them for electrical plates. It's definitely not easier. Running to get a screwdriver might be, but by the time I would have ran to get it, I'm done. Almost. Now I'm done. All right, this ceiling's done. I don't dust off all of the surface. I just take a brush and I brush out the corners, because I find that's where the clumps of dust like to hide. Ryan's going to be cutting in the corners because it's his house, and I told him I can cut in reasonably well, but you know, if he wants it done to his standard, he better do it.
Let me make the mistakes.
Exactly. Oh, what nap is this roller?
I think we're 10.
Is this a 10?
Yeah.
It's one of those microfibers that holds a lot of paint.
Yes.
I like those ones.
Yeah. They're pretty good. They don't make streaks on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
They're pretty happy with them.
Well, no rollers make streaks on the wall. The operators do. Painted now. Most of it's looking really good. The texture is generally pretty consistent, with just the odd bit of ridging from the uneven muds, like the regular mud that was, say, on the joints and corner beads, and then the texture mud. So if it got over sanded, there's maybe some ridges, there's the odd bit of pinholes, and just some general deficiencies like screw pops. but most of it's looking really good. Now I want to be really clear that this would not be adequate, say in like a living room that's got a lot of light coming in from a window. It would still need a skim. But for a basement with no light shining up at the ceiling, all we need to do is touch up the glaring deficiencies. And then we're going to sand it and paint it again, and it should look great. So some of these inside corners can be a little bit crusty, but I didn't want to make a big mess on the wall and grind into the wall with the sanding sponge. So what we're going to do to get rid of most of that is we're just going to caulk it. And we've got the tip on this cut really small, and I'm going to try to angle most of it up towards the ceiling so that it doesn't spill down on the wall. But after we do this, it'll just help that sort of crusty edge from the texture look a lot better. So as you can see, it really cleans it up. Well, this is all nice and dry now. The only thing I really needed to fix in here is I found this one crack in the ceiling. Actually, it was a puckered joint, and it was from not pre-filling where the bevel meets a butt joint. So I'm just going to mesh tape that real quickly. Once I can find the end of the mesh tape, you know, that's a reoccurring problem. Don't try and offer me solutions, I don't want it. There it is. Gonna mix up some 20-minute, and we'll get this all coated out. Okay. First, we'll just get a quick coat on that. Fill it, because that was the actual problem. When people don't pre-fill stuff and it has room to move, that's what causes, I think, like at least 50% of cracks, probably way more than that, is just not having that pre-fill in there. Okay, so this is just 20-minute sheetrock. I think it's the sort of easy sand mud. Okay, and you can watch me struggle using a knife instead of my hawk because I forgot it. Oh, this stuff is mixed up way too thick. I don't have the wrist for that. Okay, somebody told me that if I don't want to get the drips like I always do, you gotta wipe off the edges. And that seems needlessly... You guys see what just happened there? Somehow I actually had my eye closed. That's good. Yeah. Okay, what I was going to say is it seems needlessly complicated to have to wipe off each side of the blade before you make a pass. The good news about this stuff being so thick is I can apply it nice and thick. Oh. Yeah, carpal tunnel. Ow. I'm gonna do 2 coats on this though, so it doesn't have to be perfect at this point. It'll actually be 3 coats, but I mean 2 coats of quickset to get this built out to the point that it looks how I want it to look. Oh man, yeah. You know, when you're using products that you don't usually use, it can have different requirements. This one takes more mud, or more water, I mean. I had it mixed exactly to where I wanted it, and then it majorly thickened up a couple minutes after. Whereas the brands I usually use wouldn't have thickened up so much, wouldn't have taken up so much water after I had it mixed. But, live and learn, make the next coat thinner. And either way, it's almost done. Okay, we're almost there. better? I'm happy with that. Good, we'll let that set up. Okay, so what we are going to use to fill some of the deficiencies is I'm just going to use some mud straight out of the box. So this is way too thick to be used for actual taping and finishing, but it's going to be perfect for filling the deficiencies that are left over. So this is just all-purpose, like a lightweight all-purpose. You can see I got some deficiencies here. We'll get this stuff, get some of the porosity out of it. And it'll do a real nice job filling in some of those defects that are left. All right, this one's set up, and I'm hesitant to even scrape it down because I really don't want it to pull and drag. None of these lines are so big it's going to be a big problem, but let's just flatten them out a little bit. Just a little bit. No, it's doing good. This, what's the mud I'm using? Where'd that bag go? You just threw it out, didn't you? This is just one of these little like off the Home Depot shelf bags of it's the sheetrock 20 minute. Yeah, this stuff's pretty good. This stuff's pretty good. It's not, the adhesion is pretty good. I didn't add any glue or anything, so I am able to pull it around a little bit, even over this painted surface. But there, oh, doing it a bit back there. Anyways, that's good enough. Definitely gooier than the mud I usually use. Oh, I can't afford to waste any. Can't afford to drop it. I have just enough to do this from that tiny little bag. All right, wipe off these corners. Oh, see how ready I got this one? This is gonna be a nightmare. I am regretting not bringing my trowel. You know what I usually do is I kind of slap it, and that stops it from, the edges from spilling. Stops the mud from spewing off the edges. That's what I'm trying to say. Well, slap. Okay. And we're just going for a skim here anyways. Man, I thought I had it really runny, but it still spreads slow. This is, not workable. That's the term we would use. Poor workability. This is mud reviews. Vancouver Carpenter. Someday I'll do carpentry, you guys. Someday. I don't know when, but I have the skills. That's how I used to pay the bills. This mud's runny. You know what? It feels kind of like Durabond. A little bit. I don't know. If you actually know what different muds feel like and you can articulate it, man, I don't know, go into mud chemistry. Weirdo. Mud chemists. Who does that? Oh, I don't like using knives. Oh yeah, 2 for 2 there. I'm not narrating my movements. Telling you guys to feather those edges and all that important stuff. Yeah, it's looking okay. Alright, I'm fussing and I need to get this stuff on the ceiling. Running low. Oh, I'm wearing half of it now. Ah, I hate those. At least it's not in my elbow or armpit. That's the worst. Oh, this is, I don't know how all you Americans do this. It's a regional thing. Most Canadians use a hawk and a trowel. In the US, it's mostly pan and knife. I honestly don't know how you guys do this. This is painful. Ah. And now that I made it, you know, like a divisive nationality thing, totally just had like 30 people unsubscribe right when I said Merkins. I know how people are these days. Can't handle a little criticism about your country. Oh, that was 50 more unsubscribes. Don't be so sensitive. It's okay. The Vancouver Carpenter will go on without you. But you don't know that because you're gone and unsubscribed now. Alright. That's looking pretty half decent. Is that good enough for you, Ryan? Pretty half decent?
It's good enough for me.
Okay. Alright.
Yeah, I'm liking what I'm seeing here, Vancouver Carpenter. I'm liking it a lot.
Okay, good. And you're going to see it with a lot less light soon, so good. Oh. All right, that coat's done. We'll let this set up and I'm going to put one more skim over top of it. All right, I think this is good. There's only a few spots where I can see a bit of sheen that if I touch it, I know it's going to be a problem. But for the most part, I think I can start polishing off some of these tool marks. Because we are going to do one more coat of lightweight all-purpose, and then I'm going to leave this for Ryan to sand. You know, if I do a really nice job, you won't have too much to sand. So I'm actually using my hawk this time, and I'm being a glutton for punishment, and I'm going to use my 12-inch knife this time. It was my 10-inch last time, and I was already struggling. Hopefully the all-purpose moves a little nicer. And with the hawk, I can place it in the center of the blade without having to wipe off the tips of anything. And yeah, just applying it is already easier. Still don't feel like I can apply the pressure. in the way that I like to, but it's definitely an improvement. Hawk and knife, yeah, that can work. And you know, apparently hawk and knife is actually more common on the East Coast. So even throughout the US, it's not all the same thing. It's not all pan and knife, it's not all hawk and pan. Hawk and pan, that doesn't make sense. You guys know what I'm getting at. Why do I know all this about regional differences? From spending years on drywall talk, where I got to hear about it. A lot of the New York guys and yeah, the East Coast, Virginia, a lot of knife and hawk guys out there. I think knife and hawk is actually a really good combo because you're able to get better mud placement on the blade, but you still get the benefits of using a knife, which is, I think knives are better for getting into corners and doing all that stuff, but then you're still getting all the carpal tunnel stuff from using a knife. And some people will say that using a trowel is harder on the shoulder. I don't know, man, this is hurting my shoulder. I think just doing ceiling work is hard on the shoulder. There's no getting around it. This is better for catching the blobs. Alright, we're almost there. Almost have some even mud work going on here. We start smoothing it down. So yeah, a knife is definitely easier for getting into the corners like this. No arguing that. Got ripples. I can see it. Waviness. Do I let Ryan sand that out? Or do I pass over this way to try and flatten that out? Let's try passing over this way. One of the things that's always driven me crazy about knife and hawk is getting all the mud right there. See, on the wrong part of it. I don't even know what that metal part's called, the aluminum part. It has a name. Oh, don't forget to feather that edge, because I did. There. Yeah, I can still see those ripples. So let's come at it from this way, just like the last time. Okay, one last line. There we go. One there. Man, yeah, I am way faster with the trowel, not even funny. But I'm still happy with how this all looks. Nice and smooth now. And because I still found that big knife to be a little cumbersome, I still want to use my 6-inch in these corners to really tune it up and make for less sanding. Generally, no, that's looking pretty good. Get that. Oh, that's that corner I messed up again. That's right. Okay, let's get some more mud on there. the last time I forget my trowels. There we go. That'll just have to get sanded out.
It's looking amazing from back here, man.
Good. It's gonna look really good from my house.
Never heard that one before.
You can't be kidding. You gotta be kidding me.
I've only used it a few hundred times.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was like, there's nobody in the trades that doesn't know that one. And Ryan's house is a lot. It's pretty far from my house, so it's definitely gonna look really good from my house.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to watch a few more of your videos before I sand this out.
I would recommend it, not because I'm trying to milk the views, but definitely there's some good information in those sanding videos. Am I even in the frame at this point?
Barely.
I'm behind a wall, huh?
There we go.
Thank you. We're almost done here. Just final touches. Yeah, it's not easy to get 3 coats on and looking perfect in one day, but
we're doing it.
yeah, well, it's doable if you know how to work with the quick sets and the regular muds too. Each one has its own tricks, its own benefits, and not benefits. What's the opposite of a benefit?
Detriments.
Yeah, there you go. I was thinking of a big word like that. Detractions. That's what I was going to say. Detractors. That's detriments. Oh, come on.
Yeah, take a look at this silky drywall work over here.
It's looking better. Yeah, there's no real bubbles. It's good. You just got some sanding work in the corners. I mean, there's sanding work everywhere, but
that's beautiful.
Yeah, it's better than it was looking like it was going to look.
The handyman special?
No, I meant like there was ripples, and then I had to pass over it in the other direction, but you were in the other room answering your door. And I said, do I pass over it or not? I passed over it again. So anyways, that's it. This is done. Yeah, this is done. All right, so this ceiling is done. It's been a pleasure working with you, Ryan.
Man, huge thanks to the Vancouver Carpenter for coming all this way and showing me how to do it.
Yeah.
Can't thank you enough, man. Appreciate it. And if you want to check out the finished product, head on over to the Funny Carpenter. Not sure where I got the name from, but may have stolen it from this guy over here. Head on over and we'll see what this looks up all painted up.
All right. Yeah, thanks for watching, you guys, and till the next video. I don't have any awkward to add to this outro. It's just done. Thanks for watching.
Hey, I'm adding all the awkwardness necessary here, Ben.
Well, did you want to do another take?
No, I think we're good here. I think we're good.
Okay, awesome. Thanks, Ryan.
Yeah, thanks so much, buddy.
Okay, see you guys.